Welcome to episode 2 of Cold Blood's Clan War. In this series, I explore a conflict between two Cold Blood clans in 15mm. The aggressor in this case is Clan Quetzal, which lives in the very lush cloud forests overlooking the flooded forest below. The flooded forest is home to the other clan, Slaniad, which are the river folk. And in the last video, Quetzal has attacked the Slaniad without any apparent provocation. They attacked the village and Slaniad managed to beat them. Well, in this video, Slaniad are now going to try and get revenge. Introducing the Slaniad warband. Alright, so these are the river folk. We have a little squad here of 4. The leader is pointing with the scimitar or the blade, and that will act as a squad. We will be using the squad rules. Here we have a frog mage riding the large reptilian creature. That creature in my fluff actually replaces hippopotamus in these environments. They're big vegetarian lizards with very bad tempers, very dangerous. We have the chief of the Slaniad mounted on a small reptile. He has a bow, so he has some long-range attacks. We have a Dimorphodon, which is an amphibious creature I made up. And these are basically giant humanoid amphibians mixed with a little bit of fish folk. And they act like trolls in this army. And then we have a warrior here, which I used the Lizardman warrior stats for that creature. And these are splinter light miniatures in 15mm, plus a few other unidentifiable manufacturers. We have a horde figure. I don't know who the mounted guy, this was a donation to me from a supporter. And then we have a GW miniature with a howdah that actually comes off. So all that comes off, it's all modular, and that's a Splinter Light Miniatures Frog Mage. And here is Clan Quetzal. These are the individuals that made the assault in the last game on the Riverfolk village. Here we have Chief Swordfang himself. He's the one that's going to try to survive. We have Rex archers. These are larger lizardmen of the highlands, the caverns, and they're all part of allies to Quetzal clan. We have a giant tree spider, which is in the rear there. We have the shaman. He's the magic user for this little warband. And then we have a Rex warrior, which is basically a lizard man. He has a single-handed weapon and shield, so he gets a +1 armor. Anybody with shield gets a +1 to their armor checks. All right, so yes, you will notice that Quetzal is actually outnumbered, and that is part of the story arc. So it's going to be a tough call for Chief Swordfang, and I will be playing them. So I may get my butt kicked. So here is the jungle table. It's a little bright right now. This table uses some new techniques, and it's all scratch built. Here in the center, we have the Quetzal clan with Chief Swordfang. We have one of his archers. We have his warrior. There's a little shelter there that they've just built, and some food, which they were in the process of eating before they heard noises. Here's the giant spider and the shaman right behind it. So now all of the enemy, Slaniad, will be deployed under these little markers, but they will be doing so in a random way. There's another marker. There's another marker, and this is inspired by the ambush scenario. I thought that would be very proper for this game, the ambush scenario. So Chief Swordfang is suddenly ambushed. So the objective in an ambush scenario is that you have to wipe out the enemy models. In the case of Slaniad, they have to kill as many enemy models by 6 rounds as they can. If they capture Swordfang, so if he's unconscious and an enemy model comes base to base with him, I will consider him captured. they get double victory points for that. That pretty much concludes the game. And any other model that is either killed or unconscious by the end of 6 rounds, Slaniad gets half points for that. And that's the same thing for Quetzal. If I capture the leader or kill the leader, game is pretty much over, and I get those victory points. So that's basically how this scenario will work. Nothing too crazy. The order pools have been formed. Here is Slaniad and here is Quetzal. This yellow order is an instinctual order, and that's because of the giant spider. And in the first round of the game, the attackers get first turn, which are the ambushers. The lizardmen that are doing the ambush moves 4 inches. The marker moves exactly the way a figure would. And now the marker is in line of sight with one of the archers. So we are going to put a draw from the black bag. And what is it? Okay, and it looks like the mage. Oh, okay. So the mage comes in sight, and that's actually a big target. The archer can fire because this guy has come into line of sight, so the archer is going to interrupt his movement. So the archers have the colored dice, and they have a dex of 2, so I add +2 to each of the dice. So basically they need a 10 for a success. Every success is a 12 or over. And they also have speed 2, and that's why they get 2 dice. The weapon speed is a 2. So we have an 11 +2, and that is 2 successes. Now I'm going to give the mage a chance to, because he is in the howdah. Arrows of the lizardman archer are strength 5, plus the base number of 8 is a 13, so the wizard has to pass a 13 on both hits, both successes. So to the armor check of the wizard, we are going to add a +2 because of the howdah. And let's see what happens. 11, and no, he does not pass his armor check. So when arrow strikes the wizard, he only has Constitution 1, so he is knocked unconscious right on the howdah. Now the giant creature moves to the closest pile of vegetation there after the mage is knocked unconscious. So in Anthems of War has a very unique action-reaction mechanic. So basically, your opponent can react to your movement as long as it fits 2 requirements: line of sight or sphere of influence around your model. In this case, my lizardman archer had line of sight to the big beast that was coming forward once it was revealed. My archer fired, and with a stroke of luck got 2 hits despite the cover of the howdah. So I did give the armor check some bonuses because of the howdah cover. Now the mage tried to dodge, in which case he tried to go into the howdah, but he didn't roll high enough to reach the armor check values. So basically that arrow just whizzed through, boom, and did 2 damage, which knocked the mage unconscious. The Slaniad turn has concluded, and despite the mage that's unconscious here and the mount that is now on instinctual orders, one other marker was revealed, and it is this squad. Unfortunately, I cannot react to it because this archer already reacted, and this archer is not facing the right way. In Anthems of War, facing does count. We have a marker here that ran, and that's why I put the -2. It just ran there, and it's in cover. It's hiding there by the bushes. And then we have another counter that has moved here, and again is behind the bushes, and another counter that ran here from its location down there. It ran right up onto this little hill and is again hiding. So I haven't revealed those markers because of the all the vegetation that is interrupting the line of sight. So my Chief Swordfang can hear all the movement and rustling of vegetation all around them, and they have seen now a couple of enemies appear, but there's not a lot that he can do about it just yet. All right, it is now Quetzal's turn in round 1. And to make things even more interesting, Swordfang has changed his direction, and basically seeing the war beast with the mage that is no longer controlling it, he goes ahead and uses his special command order to replace the instinct order with that, and causes the war beast to actually turn around. The commander uses his force of will to actually command the creature, the feral creature, with the instinctual order. So now that is a 12-inch range. So he is well within range. It's about 11 inches, a little less than 11 inches. And so now we have some very interesting things happening. So in Anthems of War, mounts are considered part of an equipment, a character equipment. So if you have, let's say, something riding a horse or whatever that mount is, technically when the character's constitution goes to 0, he would probably fall off his mount. Okay, and then the mount is simply removed, taken out of play because it runs away. That's the sort of the idea. But in this game, I decided to do a little bit of a homebrew because the mount is large. It's a special case. There's a howdah. Instead of the rider being sitting on the mount, mage is standing in. And so when he's knocked unconscious, he simply falls into the howdah. Now, the mount, instead of being removed from play this time, what happens is that the mount now goes feral and becomes basically a creature who's going to attack whoever is closest to him. So that's kind of the house rule. In Anthems of War, we give priority to the narrative, to the story. And of course, both players have to be agree with whatever house rule or whatever promotes the narrative. In this case, it's just me. So as long as I agree with myself, I'm good. And the Frog Mage rolls a saving throw at the end of round 1. And he rolls a 5 that is under an 11. So the Frog Mage is out of the picture. And the skies have darkened at the end of round 1, and the rainforest is now beginning to get dark. And so the war beast reverts to instinctual behavior after Swordfang used his force of will on the last round and turned him around, and then he basically charges at the little squad leader, the Slaniad squad leader. Now that there's no mage controlling him, he is a feral creature up for grabs. So that's what happens, and now we see how the attack unfolds. So the war beast turned traitor, their role will appear here, and the squad leader who is going to choose to strike back is going to appear here on this side. So squad leader gets 2 dice. He has a hand weapon, and the war beast gets 3 dice. He has a speed of 3 for his big mouth. The beast gets a +3, and so does the leader. Okay, well, gives it a 17, 12 plus 3, so that's 1 success. This is another success, and this is an 11, so this just misses. We have 2 successes on the war beast. However, there's a crit scored here. This is a failure. 6 plus 3 is not a 12, but this counts as 2 successes, which then cancels these 2 successes. So, and the highlight of turn 2, round 2 rather, is that the Slaniad chief reveals himself, comes out of hiding. He does a standard move of a couple of inches, and then takes a shot with his bow at the Quetzal mage right there, right in front of him. So the mage will try to dodge as a reaction. He has to add his dex stat to that roll. So the mage, or the red dice, is going to be dodging. He adds his dex of 1, so that's a +1. And the enemy chief with his bow is going to add a 2 to the roll. He needs a 12 or over, and that's because of his dex. And so he rolls, and he rolls a 1, which is a complete failure, and an 11. So be as it may, the arrow just misses without having to dodge. I'm going to roll it anyway because it is an opposed roll. And so yes, the dodge is successful, and the mage moves 2 inches in a direction of cover right here, backwards, and dodge for cover right there. So he moved his 2 inches after dodging and dove into the bushes. So one more action is spent on another standard attack by one of the individuals of the squad, and they do manage to do one constitution damage on the giant war beast. So it now has 1 constitution left before it goes unconscious. And so, yeah, it definitely has bogged down this squad. So the giant Dimorphodon has rushed out of the bushes and is now going over the shallow little stream here. Just ran over, and now he has a minus. Whoever tries to shoot at him has a -2. He also has a -2 on any actions because he ran. Same thing with the warrior here that came out of hiding and is right behind the Dimorphodon. All right, it is now Quetzal's turn, my turn, and that will complete round 2 after I have given everyone actions. And so the giant spider has a speed of 2 for its bite attack, and so 2 dice. Then it adds its physical of 3, so +3. And, oh, we see a 20 there. 2 successes as well. That counts as 3 successes. So the mounted Slanead chief has blocked all hits, except the fact that there was a critical involved. He can only block 1 of the critical hits. So one of them does get through, and he gets 1 constitution damage, leaving him with 1 constitution. In Quetzal's turn, the lizardman archer takes a shot, but it is an aimed shot, so it is a long action, and he takes a shot at the Dimorphodon that just ran. So the aimed shot does cancel the -2. And the Dimorphodon is large, so the archer gets another +1, so that is +3 altogether. +2 for the dex of the archer, and we add another 1 because he's shooting at a big target. He needs a 12, and look at that. Look at those 20s. All right, so 2 successes. Now let's see if Dimorphodon can dodge, and he is adding a 2 for that. Yes, 2 dexterity, and that is an 11. He does not dodge. He takes 3 hits, and he needs 13s. That's a 13 right there. That's definitely, and yes, so his armor holds together. Round 2 is over, and I'm just going to highlight things for round 3 unless something really exciting happens that we want to monitor, in detail. But basically, Swordfang has charged from his position into the Dimorphodon. He swung his blade, but the Dimorphodon actually blocked successfully. Basically, the spellcaster tried to cast a spell, which failed, and so he decided to stay there in the bushes where he's safe. I gave him a hiding action after the spell failure. It was a standard action for spellcasting, so he had 2 standard actions that turn. Basically, the spider and the mounted warrior are fighting. My archer moved here, which then fired a shot on the mounted warrior. However, his shield deflected the shot, and my lizardman warrior moved right next to the archer. He does have a potion that he can throw, but he hasn't quite thrown it yet. It's a smoke potion. I want to see if there's a better time when he can use it. So in Anthems of War, your orders are a resource that you have to manage throughout your turn, throughout the game. Standard actions require one order, and long actions require two orders. So a standard action would be like a standard attack, a standard firing action, dodging, blocking, those kinds of things. A long action would be something like running, which would take two orders. Something like an aimed shot, that also takes two orders. And there are some combat actions, we haven't seen that yet, like attack and sidestep, and attack and push back. Those kinds of things all also take long actions, and this will affect how many orders are left in your pool. Depending how many long actions you use in your turn will diminish the orders left in your pool and may leave other characters without actions. But that is part of the resource management. So at the beginning of round 3, Slaanead really needs to unbog themselves from this combat. The combat proceeded. We spent 2 orders on the entire squad, according to the order economy. And 2 attacks were made on this creature, but as we saw, the battle still stands. The creature blocked, and the creature's own attacks missed the Slaanead squad itself. So this combat is still stagnant. Moving on to the second combat, we see that the Slaanead chief is in combat with the giant spider. The spider is the 2 colored dice on the right, and the black dice are the result of the Slaanead chief's mount. That is his acid assault, and we see a critical on the mount's behalf. So, excellent. Okay, the spider now performs 2 armor checks at +3. It needs 11 to pass due to the strength of the acidic assault. Okay, 1 passed, 1 failed, and the spider takes 1 con damage. Spider tries to block. It rolls 1 die, +3. It does not block at all, so 3 hits go through. Blocks will generally block all hits, all successes, except for 1 of the criticals. Spider now has to roll 3 armor checks. It had the weapon strength is 5, so 8 plus 5 is 13. It needs 13 to pass the armor checks. The spider has a dex of 1, armor 2, so that's +3 to the rolls. This one passed, 2 pass, and 1 fail. Okay, so 1 another con damage for the spider, and it is down to 0. It only had 2 con, and that means that spider is now severely wounded, unconscious. So we're going to turn him on his side, and there we go. So my witch doctor, the very first thing is he's going to cast a 2nd level spell. This is a spell of the 2nd circle, as the game calls it, and this is called Shocking Weapon. And it can be cast on an ally. It gives him a +2 additional strength to his weapon. So he has 3 mind points, so he's going to use 3 dice. And I think I'm just going to use the 3 dice. I need 2 successes, which means I need at least 2 11s. Let's see. Oh, and he gets a +1 for a spell implement. So, no, the important thing that whenever using 2nd level spells or higher, I do have to deduct 1 mind point to this. That represents the spell sucking up your energy, these more powerful spells sucking up your energy. When that goes down to 0, I can still cast 1st level spells, but if I attempt any higher, he will take damage from spell burn. In the middle of the board, after Dimorphodon was pushed back, that is a long action, a type of attack that my Sword Fang successfully did on him. It pushed him back an inch. Then the archer took a shot and forced Dimorphodon to dodge, so he had to move 2 inches towards the closest cover if it's available, and so he moved back here. And that settles the middle of the board for Quetzal. Now the only 2 remaining to end round 3 are this archer and this warrior. Against the enemy chief, he has a +2. 10 plus 2 is 12. That is 1 success. And the enemy chief's going to try to dodge. Yes, he does succeed, so he cancels out that success. So now he is forced to dodge. He's going to go behind the bushes. That pushes him back, and he is forced to dodge to the closest cover. All right, so that was the end of that. And then my last figure for this round is the warrior. Okay, half the game is over. I think I have this. I think Swordfang can survive till round 6. We'll have to see. But I lost the giant spider. They get half the points of the value of the spider because it is unconscious. And the idea is to continue to keep Slaniad at bay, bogged down on the left side of the battlefield, and keep Swordfang from being swamped by enemy figures. If I can do that till round 6, we're good. As Swordfang will escape, and we'll have to see where the narrative goes from there. At the beginning of round 4, the squad leader strikes at the feral beast. The feral beast counterattacks by attacking itself as a reaction, and basically took out the squad leader. So now these individuals are no longer in a squad. They each have their own individual actions, orders now. The mounted chief uses his order to move around and try to approach the area where Swordfang is at the moment, and this triggers a reaction by the Lizardman archer, who scores 1 hit, and he rolls a 2. He fails to dodge. He needs an armor check now for sure. Strength of the arrow is 5. Adding that to a base number of 8 gives a 13 for the armor check. The mounted tribal chief has a dex of 2, armor 2 because of light armor, and a shield, so that gives him a +3, and he needs 13, so it's 1 armor check. He rolls an 11 +3, and yes, he passes his armor check. Alright, Slaniad's turn in round 4 has finished, and there's a little bit of carnage here. This warrior here finally knocks the giant lizard unconscious, took out his last constitution, so the mount went down finally, and then each warrior that was left now has individual orders. They're no longer a squad, so one of them moved up here. I took out an couple of inches for this vegetation that he had to jump over. This guy decided to run this way. He does get a -2 from the archer that fired at him, and actually he failed his dodge, rolled an armor check, failed that as well, and now he is unconscious. He only has 1 constitution, so the archer took him out before he could go anywhere else. And the chief used his special order, which is that orange gem, gave it to this warrior and allowed him to run. Every figure can have up to 3 orders, but since he ran, he's going to stay there because that's a double move. And so this is the position of the miniatures. Here is the mounted leader, and that ends Slaniad's round 4. And now we go to Quetzal. And the warrior tries to sneak up on Dimorphodon, but because of his fear of awareness, he turns around, uses his reaction to turn around. Alright, and the warrior just hit the Dimorphodon. The Dimorphodon used his reaction to turn around. This way he's not facing in the rear, so he denies that bonus to my warrior. My warrior scored 2 11s, which is a hit. He has +3 to the combat. So now he Dimorphodon needs to do 2 armor checks, and Dimorphodon has a dex of 2, but he gets -1 on dex checks. And I don't think I was doing that consistently throughout the game, so that's bad. Bad on me. So dex 1, because of the -1 dex, and he also has +4 to his armor. So that's a +5. Strength of the weapon is 5, so he needs 13s for each of these checks. So 13s. And it looks like 1 hit goes through, and Dimorphodon takes 1 con damage. The Witch Doctor moves 4 inches right next to that archer. This is a standard attack, a standard action. He's gonna throw this purple potion right here. So let's see if he actually hits where he intends to. He rolls an 11. And that is 2 inches. All right, so let's see. Let's adjust that. We're going to roll a dice and see what direction that is in. Just follow the point of the 20-sided. And that is, like towards this way. Okay, so towards that way. The black dice is pointing. So, oh man, no way. So the potion bounces. Okay, so it's approximately right there. So the potion is thrown where that blue gem is, but it bounces back 2 inches and bursts right here. Oh, just hits the leader. So the Slaniad chief has to pass a 12+ armor check from the explosion of the potion, or take 1 constitution damage. He does pass. He passes with a 13, and plus all of his bonuses. Dimorphodon needs 13s on his armor check. He gets a +4, no shield. So a +4, +5. So +5, and no, he fails both checks. So Dimorphodon is now unconscious by taking 2 more hits, lowering him to 0 con. He falls down, and now Slaniad has to take a morale check next turn. Save. This little leader here needs to pass an 11. He rolls a 3. He is dead. This one here, save. He passes with a 14. He has a constitution of 1. He's still unconscious. Spider. Spider fails. Spider is now a dead husk. Let's see this guy. 18. He passes his check, so he's still unconscious. He needs a healing potion, but he survives with 1. So morale is rolled at the beginning of a turn. I'm just going to roll morale. This game is basically over. Quetzal has caused a lot of unconscious characters and death among the Slaniad. To the die roll, it has to be greater than a 12. So he has +3. When we combine all that together, the roll +3, he does pass. He's okay. Let's see this individual right here. He rolls a 1. Okay, so he runs away. So what happens is he's going to generate this special order, and he has to run away towards the deployment zone. Okay, and a +5. He rolls a 3. And +5, that's not enough. So he is going to back up, and we're going to give him a few more inches right behind his comrade over here. And both Slaniad characters are now running the board, running away from the board. They are retreating. And right at the end of round 4, beginning of round 5, Quetzal takes victory. And yes, the leader is safe. And there's the unconscious Dimorphodon. All right, well, that's end of game. So a victory for Quetzal. I'm going to have to put up the results on our Patreon. And so Lords of Fantasy will be voting on what to do next in terms of either Slaniad or Quetzal. Slaniad were defeated in this game. They they won the previous two games that I played. I played one for Patreon and one for the channel, and Slani had won both times. So they took the initiative and came to get revenge when they found out where Swordfang was, but Swordfang proved to be tougher this game. So Slaniad is going to have to do something else. So a very fun game. I really recommend Anthems of War if you're looking for a game that has more RPG flavor to it. Narrative is the priority in this game more so than anything. Definitely Anthems of War is a great choice. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, well, thank you, folks, and that's the end of it. A Quetzal victory. Swordfang lives to fight another day. We'll see what happens in the next video. Take care, guys. See you in the next battle.